Compañeros, welcome to another edition of the SQL Data Partners Podcast. And this is not just any other edition, but we did it, gentlemen. We made it to episode 256.
Nice.
About time.
Yeah. We've been waiting, right? I'm only getting older over here, says Kevin.
Technically, I had backwards like Merlin, but you know,
Well,
you
there
do
is
you.
that. Or Benjamin Button, right? One of the two. Okay, so as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, Eugene Meininger.
Howdy.
And Mr. Kevin Fiesel.
Hello.
And so episode 256, right? We thought we would do something special. And it appears that we may have had a big ask. However, we were able to overlap this, just the stars aligned. And the three of us were actually able to get together in person for SQL Saturday Richmond not too long ago. And so we got to have dinner, interact, and we actually did a recording in person that we're going to add to the end of this podcast. And so hopefully that will be an addition to this special episode.
And I do want to make it clear for the record that I'm wearing a different shirt in this episode than I was in the recording. I just want to make that clear. This is a different shirt, okay?
I don't know, it's blue, right? How many blue shirts do you have, Kevin? I mean,
It is actually a different shirt. I have multiple of these.
See, in here, I thought you were just, wanted to be contiguous.
No, this is not a Charlie Brown wardrobe. This is just that. It's the shirt I picked out. Strangely enough, from the list of all the other shirts that look exactly the same.
The stars are just aligning, right? What can we say?
I was wearing my Pluralsight author shirt because I wanted to flex on everyone at Richmond. So today is just some random T-shirt.
What, you trying to flex on me? Don't be silly. Name that tune. Okay, it's episode 256. Oh, you can't. Oh, you don't know that one. You're a child of the 90s. I guess I'm showing my age there.
You know.
Will Smith, getting jiggy with it. Anyway. Okay, here we go.
Every comment I'm going to make is going to get edited out of this episode, so let's just move on.
Okay, so compañeros, so yeah, we've done it. Episode 256, SQLDataPartners.com/community or 256 SQLDataPartners.com/256. As always, before we get into it, we do have some shout outs. Right? I mean, I think, not that we're ending, at least that's not the plan. But taking a peek back at some of the folks who have gotten us here. Right, obviously, you need to thank Eugene and Kevin for sticking around for 100. I mean, 100 episodes now, over.
At least, yeah.
Right, thinking about Steve Stedman, who helped in the beginning as well. Amanda, now, who does so much for our podcast, and really, I think I would have ended the podcast a couple of times if it weren't for her. And her kind of dedication and pushing me, and like, hey, we got to do this. We got to do this. Even our original sound producer, Julian, whose last name I've forgotten.
Sorry, Julian.
Yeah.
We got used to saying that so often.
Yeah, that's right. From back in the day. Yeah. And then of course, right. So special thanks to all of you, right? So some of you are actually going to make it into this episode, but we know we have a couple of longtime listeners, and so if you've engaged for over 100 episodes. Right, this shout out's for you. Thanks for being along for the journey, and we do appreciate it. But I'm not the only one giving shout outs today. Here we go. Eugene, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I just wanted to give a shout out to Mala because she's just recently been encouraging, like, the number of times she's like on Twitter, Eugene is a kind and decent human being. I'm like, oh, I am a human being. Awesome. So it's been
Some
appreciated.
Kind of
Yes, Oh, she meant I'm a kind of human being. Okay.
Yeah, it's like kind of a decent
She
human
forgot
being,
the
kind of a jerk.
I got it. Okay. Got it. So
that's one take.
it's Habanero hot take.
Yeah.
So I've appreciated the encouragement. It's just been getting kind of dreary here in Pennsylvania.
And Mr.
And
Kevin?
I'm gonna do a shout out to all the Canyoneros who, despite my best efforts, somehow found me on social media platforms and, even more unexpectedly, actually got me to engage with them. You were the real heroes all along.
Indeed. Okay, so as we mentioned, we put out the invite to have folks tell us what they were excited about at SQL Server 2022. And I think a lot of folks were a little bit like our friend, Dan Watson was kind of like 2022, right? Talk to me about that in a couple of years. And they knew that their organization wasn't in a hurry to get there, and so they didn't necessarily need to keep up with all of the newest features, and so that became, I think, a little bit of a struggle, maybe a little bit of a struggle for some of you to put together some thoughts there. So we apologize. And so what we did is we invited some folks, right? We wanted to make this a community edition. So we invited some of the folks from the SQL Data Partners, or the SQL Saturday Richmond event, to come and share some of their thoughts. So we're going to let them introduce themselves, and then we will, they have a couple of shout outs as well.
Hi, I'm Rob Wagner from the Richmond, Virginia area.
My name is Justin. I'm from Fredericksburg, Virginia. I've been in IT for about 10 years. This is like my third SQL Saturday and first time doing a podcast thing.
So I should say, right, I told before we recorded, I said, we're not going to comment on the introductions. And here I am like, oh, I have a comment, right? So good on you, Justin, for coming out to SQL Saturdays. And first time podcast. Hey, we're honored that the SQL Data Partners is the first one.
Hi, I'm Dave Stokes from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Work for Ferguson Enterprises.
So my name is Eric Molinar. I am from the Midlothian, Virginia area.
I'm George Walkie. I'm from, where am I from? Patient First, here in Richmond.
Hi, I'm Wayne Sheffield, and I'm from the Central Virginia area.
Philip Snipes. I'm a senior data engineer at Chesterfield County Government.
My name is Doug Purnell. I work for Elon University as a database architect.
My name is Jeff Taylor. I currently live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I am the president of Jacksonville SQL Server User Group, and I'm also a SQL Saturday organizer in Jacksonville. I work for Fulton Analytics, a data analytics company out of Minnesota.
My name is Gerard Haywood. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. Right now, I work in tech, more so on the hardware side. I work for a contractor that's contracted through one of the prisons. So I pretty much do some of the IT work at, different types of prisons and things like that.
So I have to say, so Gerard, right, is a compañero's compañero, right? Super impressed. I chatted with him after one of the sessions, and right, kind of the epitome of trying to better your experience, or better your environment, and learn some new things. Super impressed with him. And I guess what it reminded me, right, of we get into this later in the episode, that the SQL Saturday was a bit more simplistic, right? But he was just like, I just came to learn, right? And that was again refreshing to see.
Hi, my name is Selena Smith, and I'm from Hampton Roads, Virginia.
Hi, my name is Chris Smith, Hampton Roads, Virginia.
Okay, here we go. So now we have our contenders here. They want to give a few shout outs as well.
Wait, contenders? Are we going to kick them off the island?
Yeah. The island of misfit toys. Is that what it is, right?
I mean, I thought that everybody was a winner, but apparently not. Sorry, folks. Some of you aren't going to win today. Let's find out who.
No. This is episode 256, right? So everybody gets, leniency or clemency. So
I'd like to give a shout out to all of the folks from SQL Saturday Richmond and for SQL Data Partners. Always do a great job.
Dave
hey, that's us.
Hey. I always thought Dave was a smart guy. And so we should bring up, so Jamie Wick, right, was the organizer for the Richmond event and did take on quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're grateful to him. Who also gave us the room as well to be able to record this and do that and, make these recordings. So.
And let's give a shout out to Steve Jones.
The Library Bot is a robotic club that my son's a member of.
Oh, shout out to George Maxim. He's my partner in crime at Elon University as another DBA, and two of us work really well together, solving all kinds of problems and keeping the boat afloat.
So I hope that George doesn't get too big of a head, because George has actually made the cover of the Past Summit. Like if you go to Past Summit, the website, nice. George is on like one of the headers there, and so yeah, he's getting all kinds of love from the SQL community.
We should get him an IMDb credit now.
Shout out. So obviously to my Jacksonville crew, I'm here in Richmond today, and say hello to the user group and everyone there, and to my family who travels with me a lot, and I hope they're having fun today.
Okay, so here now we get into the meat and potatoes of what it is that we wanted to talk about. And again, right, thanks to all those who did participate, because we literally grabbed them in the hall and they're like, "Hey, come be on this podcast, and we'll ask you a bunch of questions." So again, our focus is, what is the thing that you're most excited about in SQL Server 2022? And so let's listen, see what the folks have to say.
And for SQL Server 2022, I'm looking forward to the expanded Polybase capabilities.
Good man. It's good that was the first one, because that's the correct answer. Everybody else, you can just go home.
Oof.
Yeah, we thought you might be excited about that one.
Yeah, that $20 went really well.
Yes. So Rob, Eugene is now your best friend. So next time you're in Richmond, maybe he'll take you out for a victory burrito. Right? Nice. Does that mean we're going to get a new book, Kevin?
No, not for that topic. Actually, I do have a book coming out, but not on Polybase.
Yeah.
I'm excited for SQL 2022. I will wait until the first CU before we dive in.
Okay. So at least he didn't say service pack, right? So, that'd be a long so thanks
wait.
to all those who are ahead of the game. Oh gosh, I am blanking on his name. Oh, this is not good. The guy he's in Chicago. Is it Brandon? Used to be from Boston. Yeah. Now up in Chicago, Brandon
Leach. Yep.
Brandon Leach. Thank you. And probably Channel Advisor. We haven't talked about the Channel Advisor, but I'm sure you guys have the early release as well. But Brandon's been telling me that they've been working out all the bugs on our behalf, right? So thanks to all the early adopters out there.
Oh, nice.
The thing I'm most excited about SQL 2022 is the intelligent query processing features that are being changed and the new features that are rolling out.
Okay.
I'm going to prognosticate that intelligent query processing will come up several times here.
Here we go.
I'm just
seeing into the
that
future.
kind of, I need to get my my turban and crystal ball and go full Johnny Carson on us.
There we go. We'll see what folks say.
I'm looking forward to the availability group enhancements with MSDB and master databases being able to be included.
So, 0 for 1 right now, and I guess we'll get into this. But so the contained availability groups, I think, is what they're officially going to be called, right? Yeah. So I'm going to second Wayne there, and that was one of the things I was excited to see, or to take a peek at, because anybody who's failed over those and then had jobs and whatnot, it's just kind of a pain. So it'll be nice to see that enhancement. It's kind of one of those nice to, you're like, oh yes, this is what a new version should have.
So excited to see how some of the intelligent query processing actually works in the real world, specifically parameter sniffing and some of the things they improved on. We'll have to see how much adoption there is and how many people turn it on, turn it off, and to see what kind of benefit that actually truly is.
Okay, 1 for 1. Now he said something there which I failed to validate, but he mentioned turn it on, turn it off. Now there are some of the feedback mechanisms. I know it's like the check. It's like, hey, if you want to send feedback to Microsoft, you have to click the check. But or it won't send some of those pieces. But I didn't think the intelligent query processing would be one of them. Do either of you off the top of your head know? Is that going to be a phone home feature?
Wouldn't be phone home. It'd be whether or not you have the database compatibility level at the right level, that you have Query Store turned on, and you can, in fact, disable the optimization at the database level with a database scope configuration. So it's set parameter sensitive plan optimization off or on.
Right.
So
okay,
yeah, you can turn that thing off and on, because there are cases where you may say, look, I've got an older database. It's very finicky. The way plans are generated may be a little wonky. Maybe we call it SharePoint. And that maybe trying to fix that just leads to more problems, and just try not to fix it. Just let the thing burn.
Right. Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. Kind of a piece. Okay, yeah. So I guess I kind of misunderstood, but yeah, in terms of turning it on, because there are a couple of pieces there, right? That you're, it may not be just a single parameter that you enable, but there's going to be a couple of things to set up. Steps, if you will. Might make a good stairway series, perhaps, for someone.
So there's so many features in SQL Server 2022 that I like, but I think probably the top two for me that I'd probably use on a regular basis would be the intelligent query processing features that are added now to help tune some of the parameter sniffing issues that we encounter on a day-to-day basis. And then probably the new adjustment of the windowing functions, so that you only have to write a windowing function once in a query instead of multiple times.
I do want to talk about that a little bit, because I have heard people say, what's the big deal with the window clause? The window clause is incredibly useful for analytical style queries. So if you only have a single row number operation, or a single rank, or a single window function, you don't have to use the window clause. It's not going to add very much for you. The benefit comes when you have 4, 5, or 6 of them laid out in a row, and they're all using the same window. I've had cases where 5 of those 6 get updated because I need to change the window, but then one of them accidentally doesn't get updated because you're copy pasting and you just miss it. So that's the major use case for having that window clause, that I want to define these windows out just as they are, because I have several analytical functions that I'm trying to run on the same data set in the same query.
Yeah, anything we can do to reduce the copy paste, right, error. Will be good. Now, you talked about this at SQL Saturday as well, right?
I did talk about window functions as an entire topic. Didn't get into 2022 very much. I did mention this fact that it was coming up, but because I was running on a 2019 box, I did not have any examples of it. However, come in December for a different conference, I do have another talk where I will get into some detail on window functions and the window clause.
Very good. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, so now we have 2 other special guests that we're going to get to. So we're going to flip the script a little bit here. And so we invited those who participated, to do the recordings. We asked them some SQL family questions. We're going to go ahead and let them answer those, and then we have 2 more responses to the what are you looking forward to question, and we'll get to those in a second. So the question that we asked them here is, what would you do if you had to change careers?
I would probably get into psychology because I find that topic very interesting.
Well, it may not be also different, right? Being a DBA, you have to,
I guess
help the queries work through problems. Right?
So psychoanalysis is restoring backups is what I'm hearing.
Coming in as an economist, which actually would be my backup job if I didn't have this thing to fall back on. Economics, all other social sciences, just saying is all. By the way, for the people who are listening to this on the recording, economics is at the top of that chain and all other social sciences is way down. Don't get me started on sociology. I will punch down on sociology.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy.
Anthropology also isn't real.
Oh,
but
yikes.
let's keep going before I make all of the listeners angry.
I was going to say,
remember,
not a
you can
Bones
reach
fan,
me at Eugene Meitinger.
Wait a minute.
Should we continue? Let's do that,
please.
I would do it. Oh, it was something with tropical water, boat rentals, kayaking, something like that. Tropical. Nothing above 50 degrees.
So he's I don't think that George went on the SQL cruise back in the SQL cruise days, but it sounds like he would have fit right in there.
Hmm.
Well, at least the Caribbean one. I don't know about the Alaska one, but at least the Caribbean one.
I think at this point, if I had to change careers, I think I'd just retire.
I mean, so there are a couple. I'm not sure. I think Dave's going to come back here, but Wayne, I think, is that's a little bit more in sight for him now than it used to be. So
now that he's 39.
Yeah, indeed. Right.
So I had to change careers. I believe it would be cooking barbecue. It's something to do on the side. I enjoy it. Love making people bring a smile to their face. I would just worry about turning into a business and taking the fun out of it.
I can confirm Doug is a really good barbecuer. Incredible. He has this enormous smoker that's the trailer hitched and does a great job with it.
Yeah. So as I say that, I don't know that I've actually ever partaken in Doug's barbecue. I have seen lots and lots of pictures, but the timing is such that when he's doing it, I'm not around. So yeah.
Yes, I'm sure that's all incidental.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. But yeah, and he mentioned the fun. So much fun that he hitched that thing on a trailer and took it. So he lives in Greensboro and took it down to Charlotte, which has got to be, 2 hours? Maybe
for
almost?
him, it'd be about 90 minutes.
90 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. But still, that's a pretty good haul.
That's right. That's a good haul, right?
And,
be afraid of all those Texas barbecuers he'd put out of business as a result.
Nah, more Carolina style. At least that was my recollection. But it's been a while. Doug, we need more barbecue.
Yeah, indeed.
I think it's what we're getting at.
But don't be alarmed by his secret macaroni and cheese recipe. Just eat it, but don't ask about it because you might might be let down, perhaps. That was one of his sentiments. So, but everybody likes it, really likes it, and then they're like, "What? This is what?" Anyway, that's his secret. I'll let him share.
All right. Well, if I couldn't do what I'm doing now, and I had to change careers, then I would probably just plan out what I wanted to do in the future, and just make sure I executed on it every day. Figure out a plan, execute, be around like-minded individuals, and just keep on working hard to get to where I need to be.
I'm actually doing that right now. So I just retired from the Navy, and I'm going back to school. So that would be one thing I would recommend. I'm back at school, and a shout out to my class at William & Mary. We're the Master of Science in Business Analytics at the business school. And just just suggest going back to school and coming to events like this, the SQL Saturday, and just networking as much as you can. And I just try to pick everyone's brain that I can because I'm starting over again. So it's a different position to be in, especially if you're a little bit older. But it's fun. It's really cool. And I just enjoy learning from everyone that I can. And thanks for having me.
Wow, right? So we talk about it,
Nice.
but she's doing the deed right there, right? Retired from the Navy, right? Thank you for your service, and then going back to school. So
Yeah, I think like I just think about my early career, and like I think 20s I would have had the energy to jump around a little bit. I think as I'm getting ever so closer to my mid 30s, since I had a birthday right around the time of SQL Saturday Richmond, it sounds like a lot. It's hard to imagine at this point trying to make that big of a change.
yeah, but kudos,
Don't worry,
kudos
Eugene.
to
When you get that red convertible, it's all going to be different. You got a few more years before you're there yet, but it's coming.
Yeah,
don't worry. That flummoxed Carlos.
Which then leads us to our next question, right? What's the one thing that can instantly make your day better?
Having my code execute properly the first time.
Who doesn't like that?
In that case, I do have to chime in there. If the code executes properly the first time, I'm looking to see what awful thing happened, because there's no way it's going to work the first time. Right. So there's going to be some like second or third level failure that I need to watch out for.
I can see that you lead a very optimistic life.
Look, paranoids have enemies too.
Planning my vacation or my tropical retirement.
So look into the future, right?
Again, I just retire.
It's a very direct answer from Wayne.
Yeah.
Like, what's the thing that would make your day better? If I'd retire. You know what? Yeah. I appreciate that.
Well, I have 3 kids, and with 3 kids, sometimes you can be up around the clock. So, great thing that makes my day better is a nap.
I'm all in on team nap. I'm right there with Jeff.
There we go. What's your go-to song when you need to boost your mood?
AC/DC's Thunderstruck.
Okay, depends on the project. If it's like, C#, then it's like heavy metal.
I would listen to anything by Amy Grant.
That would be Toby Mac, Speak Life.
It's Roll with the Changes by REO Speedwagon.
All of a sudden, I'm blanking on. I knew the other ones, but I'll Roll with the Changes. REO Speedwagon. I'll have to go back and take a look. I don't remember that one, David. There we go.
Thanks.
What's your favorite ice cream topping?
I'll just keep it basic. Mine's chocolate sprinkles. They're delicious.
Well, when I go to Sweet Frog, there's at least, 4 or 5 things on there. So it's got to have marshmallow, though. That's got nothing to do with SQL. That's awesome.
Okay. So man likes his toppings. Okay. So thanks to all those who participated, right? We were able to grab, right, man on the street type interview and participated in this in episode 256. We do, however, have a few more, right? So these are the few, the fine, the true compañeros. Let's see, are we allowed to say that? We may not be allowed to say that. Those
like a real American thing. The true compañeros and then the secondary class compañeros.
True compañeros. Let's see. No, those who are willing to go just a little extra for the podcast. And so we've got 2 comments from Josephine Bush and Andy Levy, right? So both have been on the program, and so we were excited for them to participate. So now we're going to, I guess, close up with them. I guess we'll circle the wagons then, because we need to get Kevin and Eugene's take as well. And yeah. So before we do that, let's listen to Josephine and Andy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Josephine Bush, and I'm honored that the SQL Data Partners Podcast has asked me to be a part of their community episode.
And we are glad, Josephine, that you wanted to be a part. So thank you, ma'am.
For which I am recording this to tell you something that's important to me. So really, the reason that I stay a part of the community and contribute is just because of the amazing people that are part of the community. People that are in no order of importance, but amazing, amazing people like Tracy Boggiano and Deepthi Goguri and Leslie Andrews, and last but not least, Grant Fritchie, who have been very helpful to me and, of course, helpful to the community. And it really keeps me going. I'm amazed. I only joined the speaking community last year, and everybody welcomed me with such open arms, and everybody's so helpful. It's not competitive. There's no petty stuff. If you need to pull out of something, which I try to avoid doing, people are very sympathetic and understanding. And so I just really appreciate that community. And it's just becomes so important to me. And so I just want to do that shout out to people. So thanks.
That was very heartwarming.
Yes, indeed. Wasn't that? Yeah, that was nice, right? Yeah. And I would have to agree with Josephine, right? I mean, part of the reason I've told the story before, right? But took 2 database courses in college, disliked both of them. Swore I would never be a database administrator, and ultimately, I feel like what kept me to stay was the community, right? So it's, yeah, super nice. Okay, and here we go, Andy, Mr. Andy, take it away.
Compañeros, congratulations on episode 256 of the SQL Data Partners Podcast. And thank you for sharing everything that you shared over the years and bringing on the fantastic guests. It's been wonderful listening to you and helping out, participating a little bit in the podcast as well. I want to give a shout out to all the folks in the SQL Server community Slack and Discord channels, especially the folks in the DBA Tools team. And thanks for helping me learn and help me learn how to share the things that I do know, so we can help bring others along in their journeys. So again, congratulations on episode number 256, and I hope to see you all again in person before episode 512.
Wow, he's really putting it out there, right? You know, he's setting the bar a little high.
It's a lot of pressure, that's for sure.
That gauntlet that's a lot of pressure. Down.
Yeah. So it totally didn't wrap my, because he said something that I wanted to circle back to, and then all of a sudden all I can think about is episode 512.
I mean, all I can think about is the hat. It's a great hat.
Iconic.
No, let's see. Now I have to go back and listen, because what did it?
What's the thing is synecdoche? What's the English term whenever you're just referred to as like the White House or a set of helping hands or something, right? We just need to start calling him the Hat.
Hey, you know, he's up in Rochester, right? He doesn't have, you know, too many nice days, so he's got to get out and enjoy it while he can, right? So
that's fair.
Mr. Pitt, you know, from Pittsburgh, you can appreciate, you know. Let's see. Oh, that's what it was. Talking about all the, you know, again, the community folks. He mentioned the Slack over at the SQL Server community channel. Is that what we're calling it? Ultimately run by the DBA tools, and holy cow, right? I mean, sometimes you think like, I mean, Stack Overflow is busy and whatnot. I guess maybe because it's Slack. But man, you ever feel like, you know, you need to move a little faster, head on over there, and it's like,
yeah, it is exactly like the finger gestures that Carlos was making. By the way, people on the podcast, Carlos is making finger gestures that represent the high pace of conversation within the channel. It's actually why I'm not really on there anymore. Is just there was so much going on But you know what? If you're at a corporate job, you need to burn like 20 minutes. I'm not going to ask questions. Just check it out.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. Right, for helping me. Right, I had a little 256 episode, blockage. It just, I guess I'm going through that conversion, right, of the the small ints to regular integer, and I had a table lock there. Anyway, so thanks for everybody who participated. Right, it's always great to engage. Right, I think hopefully the podcast continues to bring value. If there's things that you think we should be talking about in the future, right? Again, I know we say it a lot, right? But let us know, and we'd be interested in getting that topic in. I will tell the story. So there was somebody reached out to me with a topic, I don't know, 150 episodes ago, maybe. And I did not like the topic. And at the time, right, we had a queue. I probably had, like 2 months worth of podcasts, done. But it was probably more than 150 episodes then. Anyway, and I was just like, I'm okay. And I kind of put it off. And then all of a sudden I went through my queue. I didn't have him reserved. He hits me up again. He's like, hey, what about this thing? And I'm like, okay, because I didn't, I needed an episode. I got more, not that we get a ton of engagement, compañeros, which, but I got more engagement off of that episode than I had several of the previous. And I'm like, okay, I will never judge a topic again, right? I will. If it can be helpful to folks, we can chat about it, and we'll bring it on. So anyway,
that's why we were stuck dealing with merge replication.
Yeah, indeed. So, now we didn't. I'm hoping that you can help us, as I'm sure our audience has been waiting, right, with bated breath through this entire piece. When you think about SQL Server 2022, what are you looking forward to most?
Gene, do you want to go first, or am I going to go first?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have anything. I don't have anything good on the spot. I mean, there's nothing that sticks out as like, oh wow, I'm excited about this. I think part of that is because I haven't had to be a DBA in quite some time. But sure. No, nothing. Nothing.
If it don't fit a Power Query, I ain't worried about it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know what I want. My wish list feature is I want to be able to use Power Query to load data into SQL. I'll be excited when they do that.
There we go.
Alas.
I'll put in that request when I head out to Summit.
Yeah.
You'll be there. Are you going as well?
I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to put in that request, right?
Put in your own request, Eugene.
Yeah.
Stop making Carlos do all your work.
Yeah, apologies.
Okay, so Mr. Kevin, what are you looking forward to most?
All right. Legally and morally, I'm obligated to say Polybase. But let's just assume that, you've already said Polybase, and they say, come on, Kevin, give us an answer that is more befitting the nature of the show. To which I will say, all right, I can do that. And specifically, I'm going to take it a slightly different angle from the discussion that we had with the window clause and say there is, I think, more in this upcoming edition of SQL Server to make the average database developer's life easier than in any version since at least 2012, and possibly going back further. So, for example, greatest and least. A couple of very simple functions that allow you to search sort of min and max, except across columns instead of within a column. Updates to string split, allowing you to include an ordinal value. Granted, there's still some complaining about how that ordinal should be set up and how everything should work, but there's obviously an attempt at improving string split.
Sure, it's a step in the right direction, right?
Yeah. Yes. Date bucket and date trunk. I'm actually really excited about date trunk because that's going to allow you to say, look, I'm just interested in down to the minute granularity or down to the hour granularity. Here's the date part that I want down to that level of granularity and nothing else. You can get away with it with various combinations of date diff and date add, but that's not easy for a person to read and get right. So again, another example of here's something fairly simple that makes the life of a developer easier and allows you to go back to your old code and fix that some older code that maybe is a little bit messier. Generate series, allow you to generate a tally table on the fly, so you don't have to copy and paste the common table expression that cross joins together several empty tables and generates a result for you. Yes, there can be problems with generate series and plans, but again, it's a nice thing to include in here. And the window clause and approximate percentiles. So there's a lot in here that I think people can go back to older code where they've had to do workarounds or where they've had less than ideal methods of getting things done. Go back to that old code and be able to say, yeah, let me put this thing in and it will make life better.
Yeah, that should be interesting, right? So, admittedly, that's an area on the development front I haven't sunk my teeth into as much, and so that will be neat to get into, because particularly, right, generally what happens is it bubbles up because there's some performance problem, and not that the functions are always necessarily going to be a performance enhancer, but anytime you can introduce simplicity, right? And that folks know what's going on, I call it a win, right? So,
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so compañeros, we are actually going to end this episode playing a live recording that we did in Richmond, and so I guess we've already said goodbye. So we don't have to do it again.
Nice.
So
remember, I said goodbye wearing a different shirt.
Is that what it is? Does that make you feel better, Kevin? Would you like to?
Yeah, because I don't want people to think that I only have the one shirt. I've got more than one shirt. I just want to make that very clear. I've got I own multiple shirts. You only see me in one because that's just what I wear. But I have multiple.
I feel like a proof of multiple shirts might be required now.
Well, I did get the SQL Data Partners shirt in the mail, so I definitely have at least 3 shirts that I own.
It's true. I watched the podcast shirt. I should have been wearing that today. Oh well.
There we go. Yeah, I guess that makes 3 of us. So, okay. Well, so thanks again, compañeros, for 256 episodes. We hope you enjoy the remainder of the episode, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Okay, so I guess we're going to continue here. So we are here, not really live.
It's live for us.
It's live for us. We are alive, and we're doing it.
I don't guarantee that I'm alive.
Yeah, he's more of an undead, like just a shell of a man,
kind of existing.
Yeah. We need some proof of life.
Can I
get his wife involved?
I've got like the little finger pricker to check my blood sugar. So if we want to see if each of you bleeds, we can do that.
I bleed very slowly.
It's a tolerance built up over the years.
Hello, Canyoneros.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how we're going to open. We'll have to figure that out. I guess.
Hola, compadres.
Okay, so we are here. We are live here at SQL Saturday Richmond. What day is it? It's October 22nd.
Yep.
And we're in person. And we thought,
I don't believe that it's actually live until you hold up a newspaper of today's date.
Did we
have to find a newspaper?
Yeah, that's right. Oh gosh, yeah. Maybe I had the time somewhere.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. So it was nice. It was nice to get together. We actually had dinner last night.
Yeah. No, it was good.
Yeah. And Carlos didn't have us do dishes that late, so it was like only 4 hours.
The happy birthday was not obnoxious, so that was good.
Oh yes. Oh,
I know. Tomorrow's my birthday. So
yes.
I'll be 34, which rounds up to like 40, which rounds up to dead. So it's
34. Man,
34.
You remember being that young?
I am only 12. Actually, I'm 13. For legal purposes, I'm 13, so that I can click on those sites without COPPA.
Yeah.
Oh man! Well, happy birthday!
Thank you.
So, compañeros, it's going to be a little bit late, right? But you can wish Eugene happy belated birthdays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably be out before he's 35.
With any luck.
Yeah.
It'll be that way. Or we can celebrate. We'll just save it till next year, and we'll be ahead, right?
Right.
And then you won't be late with your birthday wishes.
That works.
There you go. Okay, so SQL Saturday Richmond, we are here. We're back. And you guys are doing 2 sessions. I'm only doing 1 because I guess, my life on the D list.
Jamie wasn't like, do you want to do 2 sessions?
Anyway, and so let's do this. Tell us what you're talking about. And so we've only done 1 of 2. Each of you have done 1 of 2.
Yeah.
And so maybe let's talk about, I've done my session as well. So maybe let's go through that real quick.
All right, sure. So we're talking about the talk that will have already been talked, or the talk that is yet to be talked but will have been talked by the time we talk about it. Or both.
No, just the one that's done.
Oh, okay, just the talk that has already been talked about. So since I've already talked about it, we can just go on. So first session, all about window functions, the importance of window functions, the types of window functions, the fun stuff you can do with window functions, really just a lot of functions and windows.
And apparently, Bill was telling me that $20 bills will actually get people to come to your session.
This is true, although with inflation, actually, they're 50s now.
Oh gosh, yeah. And so let's see. I did a presentation on what is Power BI. So Excel.
What is Power BI?
Excel 2.0. Well, you see, I have to start with this blowtorch analogy.
Yeah.
And then tell us what you're talking about.
I was talking about Power Query and M, which I describe as if you could pay someone minimum wage to do it by hand manually in Excel, you can do it in Power Query and automate it. And so that's what the M stands for, is minimum wage and manual effort.
Yeah. So it's nice to be back now. I know Kevin's done a couple of events, but this is, let's see, I'm trying to think. My first SQL Saturday event, I know we did a Springfield technology group.
Yeah. I think this is my second, although really the one before that was still during the pandemic, right? It was SQL Saturday Orlando like last year.
Oh, that's right.
And they're like, all right, guys, the pandemic's dying down. It's summertime. Let's reserve it.
It's Florida, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, no, I think they declared the pandemic over last year. And it was funny because it was like the timing just worked out that it kind of almost made sense, but it was still kind of awkward. There's like 60 people. They brought in projectors, and because they didn't want to pay for the extra for the AV, so I'm literally projecting onto a bed sheet on a wall. And man, if you ever want a reason to worry about accessibility in your presentations, the risk that you're presenting on a bed sheet on a wall is a good reason to have high contrast on your presentations, right? If you don't care about anyone else, just consider the risk that you present at SQL Saturday Orlando on a bed sheet.
And defending SQL Saturday Orlando, because it was a good event. It was almost, I think it was basically the only one in 2021. So you got to scrimp where you can. You got to do what you can to get it going.
A Florida man puts on a SQL Saturday event.
I mean, I would go again. I did go again. I went in 2022. So yeah, of course I would go again. It's a SQL Saturday. What else am I going to do?
But yeah, still, everything's all dusty and rusty. So I'm glad to be in person still. Oh man, the presentation I gave, I haven't given since like 2019. So yeah, I was blowing the dust off of that one.
Yeah, so it's nice to. Now I didn't have to travel, right? So that was nice, but it was nice to get back, right? See some friends, right? See some people. Yeah. I mean, I think I am not on social media, perhaps maybe as much as I should. Well, I shouldn't say should. No, should is not the right word. Could be is probably a better word. But so it's nice to be able to get together, shake some hands, and give some hugs and
kiss some babies.
Kiss some babies. Yeah.
So now that Carlos is running for Congress.
I got to get used to that.
It's part of the Canyonero party.
Okay, so in that presentation, right? I guess one of the questions that was asked to me is, so we were talking about exporting the report to Excel. And they're like, "Well, I want my visualizations to export." And I'm like, "No, you can't do that." But then they brought up Report Builder.
Yeah.
And so now in her mind, and I guess I'm looking for confirmation here. In her mind, Report Builder, I can because in SSRS you do the validation, you put the sums, you have the conditional columns, you can export that, and those conditional columns will come with you, right? So her take was, well, hey, how come report builder can't do that for me in Power BI? And I'm like, oh, that's a Eugene question.
And you told her, all right, listen to the podcast that's going to come out a month from now, and he'll tell you.
Well, good things come to those who wait, don't you? See, these are the problem with these young people. They didn't have the commercials, the Heinz commercials to grow up to. They weren't taught these life lessons.
Raised by the TV in the 90s. So, I mean, Power BI was designed for the web browser and the cloud first, and everything else they stapled on, right? So even export to Excel, I don't think it had that for years.
Correct.
SSRS was designed as a file format first, that it was designed to be able to export to Word, to Excel, and it works okay. Like you don't you don't get a lot of the formatting. And I'll tell you what though, the formatting when it goes to Excel, if you have a very simple report, it's fine. But if you're doing anything complicated whatsoever, we had an invoice with a bunch of conditional columns and we would hide stuff and we'd show stuff. Well, the problem is the way that it does formatting in Excel is it's column based.
Right.
So if you have something that's like a third of the page and then something else that's like half of the page and whatever, it's going to resize a bunch of columns to make that work.
Yep.
So you will have cells of information, those sums, those totals, that might be spanning 6 Excel columns because it needed something above it to be this length and something below it to be this length. So it is a nightmare if you're doing any kind of advanced formatting, which I have because last job, we were writing invoices in SSRS, and we need to be able to export them to Excel, and it was a bad time.
Yeah, well, going even further from that, when you have downstream people trying to use those Excel files and do anything Excel-like with it, so, okay, I just want to sum up this column. I had a problem with that where I just want to sum up the values in this column, except that it wasn't in this column because some of the values were over here, some of the values were there, and between filtering and everything else, is like I literally could not sum.
First world problems right there.
A little bit.
It looks pretty, but having to work with it as any kind of reporting artifact is a giant pain.
Sure. Right. So again, right tool, right purpose, right?
Wrong job.
Yeah, wrong.
Speaking of wrong jobs, I don't know. I didn't have anything else to lead in there, so I just wanted to.
Is SQL Data Partners hiring? Is that what?
Well, let's see.
At a booth. What were you guys doing at the booth?
That's right.
Bill
handing out candy.
And Jen, I think, taught me the cup game where you're trying to flip a cup with your finger. She beat me by like 5 seconds. I don't know what the relevance was, but I got pulled into that. So, your sponsor money at work.
There we go. So the things that you can do in person, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Cannot do the finger game.
It's very hard to flip cups as a race over Zoom. But we could try it. Maybe next podcast.
Oh, there we go. That sounds like a challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Amanda's like, oh, what have we gotten into? They have to be SQL Data Partner cups. I don't know if it seems fair.
I have one somewhere.
But isn't it glass?
Oh, yeah. Can't use the glass.
No, I think I have a plastic one, too, from one of the SQL trails. But, yeah. The glass one with my name etched. I'm not going to flip that.
Yeah, so thinking about the event itself, we were talking a little bit about this last night. Nice to see some events. I still think they're going to be a little bit slow to come together. And it feels like we are back in the OG days, right? So not that Andy Warren has gone anywhere necessarily, but you know,
he's still with us in spirit. Yeah.
He's still with us, but
he's with us in Orlando.
Yeah, but exactly. So Andy's the kind of guy who's not like, oh, we need to project. Let's project on bed sheets, right? It doesn't matter, right? Learning can happen.
Right. To get the job done, you do what you need to do, and you can make it work.
Yeah. So it does feel like we're in a very nice facility right now, right? I mean, it's worked out well, but I do think so. Simplification is the name of the game right now.
Yeah. Well, it feels like all the supply chain issues that we've heard about with regular products and things is happening to SQL Saturdays, right? Because you've got supply chain issues with organizers, venues, speakers, attendees. And so you just have to plan for smaller and plan for simpler, like you said. Like, we didn't have a speakers dinner, and it wasn't for a lack of trying. Talking to Jamie, it's like, well, 2 places were willing to accept reservations, and they wanted $1,000. And Jamie loves his speakers. He doesn't love us enough for $100.
$1,000 worth.
That's right.
I'm very disappointed.
Well, I told him I was tentative, and that's was like, ooh. Well.
Yeah.
if you can't make it, then
you weren't able to make the drive. That was too much.
It was all the way across town.
All the way across town. I can't do that twice in 2 days. Like, oh no, I guess I still did it.
We do go-kart next year. You'll come.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, and so, but I also think, again, so you mentioned dusting the cobwebs off.
Yeah.
You know, the organizers have to do the same thing, right? So they're kind of like, oh gosh, you stretch those legs again, and do I want to put in that effort?
Yeah, no, I got to find a venue. I've got to find all the supplies. I have to dig stuff up, make sure that it's still working from the garage, and figuring out the date, figuring out the logistics. Without the SQL Saturday site being, there is a new site, but it doesn't have all of the same tooling as the original site. And say what you will about the tooling, at least it was there.
That's right.
Especially with sponsors. I think with a lot of the other things, okay, I can use Eventbrite, I can use Sessionize, I can use a couple other tools. With sponsors, it's been a little harder to figure out how we're going to sort that out. And I hope that there is a good answer for that. I don't know what a good answer for it would look like. But, you know, getting all of these things in place and getting to the point where we're able to even run an event. Yeah, I completely agree. This feels like it's 2009 all over again, where, okay, you're welcome to do this. And there's this slow take-up of people who are like, oh, yeah, well, I guess I'll do it again.
Right. Well, and it's a chicken and the egg thing, too, with, like, sponsors and attendees and stuff. Like, I think for this event, we were told that there was 60% of the usual number for registrations. And that's registrations, right? If the sun peaks out, we know half the people aren't even going to come. And so then it's very hard to, like, get sponsors to sponsor the event when it's like, I don't know how many people are coming. And then it ends up being 50 or something like that. Like, I was a sponsor for that SQL Saturday Orlando, and I think I got 40 people that put their little thing in my little bin for me to send, like, my newsletter to. So I think, yeah, it's going to be very hard to get that steady state going again.
Now, for those of you who may be new, right, we have people tuning in regularly. I would actually say that so half of my attendees in the session were new. So first SQL Saturday, so that's always fun. And so one of the thoughts that I had was, again, as we get back into person, hopefully the culture is still there. And while some of the amenities might be a little bit different, hopefully from a culture, from a brand perspective. Speakers will still be approachable, except for Kevin.
Technically, you can approach me.
Yeah. Up to 8 inches. That's the restraining order.
Yeah, unless you also fit in the restraining. This is why I have to be this far away from Carlos. I'm not allowed any closer.
Yeah, but even mingling with other attendees, right, or trying to network, I still, again, that's always been the real value, at least in my mind. Sure, there's going to be technical pieces. Yes, you hope to learn something. Don't get me wrong, but I also think if you walk away from an in-person event and haven't made strides to get to know somebody better or follow up in some way after the event, you could just stay home and watch YouTube.
Sure. Yeah, I mean it's.
Wait, I had that option.
You could, yeah. Yeah, and it's been an evolution for me where when I was in my 20s and companies was like, I'm going to attend all the sessions, going to learn all this stuff. And then I became a speaker and it's like, oh, I'm getting more value from sitting in the speaker's room, hearing people tell war stories about their jobs than actually attending half of the sessions, right? And I felt guilty about it because it's supposed to come and learn this stuff. But yeah, building those connections, like that's, especially like if you're a consultant or something like that, it's not like you have an office you're going into. And now suddenly that's true for half the people, right? Yeah. So it's even more important.
Yeah. Okay, so as we finish up, right, so we are thankful to all of the folks here at SQL Saturday RVA. We took some takes. We're grateful to the handful of folks that submitted their what to expect in SQL 2022.
Tables.
I don't think that was one of them, Eugene.
Sorry,
I'm shocked and amazed.
Amanda, where's our official smacker? I need the... And so, so thanks for all those who participated right here locally prior to. Thanks for making episode 256, for being a part of it. Compañeros, thanks for listening. And as always, right, if folks want to reach out to us, say hello.
Yeah.
Without fear of smacking. Yeah. How can they do so?
You can find me on Twitter at SQLGene, and semi-infrequently, I blog at SQLGene.com.
You can reach out to me, but Carlos is going to have to hold the microphone really close to your face.
Hey, compañeros, I'm on LinkedIn. So Kevin and Eugene, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
It's great to be with you in person, right? If you want to chat with me, compañeros, you can do so on LinkedIn. I'm at Carlos L. Chacon. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the SQL Trail. Bye now.
SQL Data Partners.